Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Model Car Building and Retirement. My name is Ken. In this episode, I'm going to show you how I do the window tinting on my model kits. Right after the intro, let's get right into it. Thank you. So the first step in window tinting is to take the outside of the glass and mask it off completely so that we don't get any overspray on it. And for that, I'm just using blue painter's tape because it's the cheapest stuff there is. Well, there might be cheaper, but... Okay, and then we're going to mask off the front. Okay, very good. Okay, then for the windshield, what I'm looking for is I'm going to do just tint across the top like they used to do back in the days. I don't know if they still do that or not today, to be honest. I'd have to take a closer look at the cars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off, and I switched to my frog tape, which is my favorite masking tape. I'm told it's very much like the Tamiya tape, but it's cheaper and you can get it at like, big box store like Home Depot or whatever. So what I'm doing now is I'm just masking off where I know for sure that I don't want it. Okay, then next I'm going to take a piece of fine line vinyl masking tape. And I get this, I've had this one for years, but you can get it at like a auto body paint store or whatever. You can probably find it on the internet as well. It's 1/8 inch thick, it's vinyl, and it curves really good. It's designed for like masking off if you're going to do a flame paint job on a real car or whatever. So it's flexible and it has a nice crisp line to it. So I'm going to, bear with me, sticky tape here. And I'm using this mainly because it'll curve with that curvature of the glass. I don't want to go just straight across. So I'm going about a 1/2 inch down. And the cool part about this tape is you can try to lay it out and then pull it back up if you didn't get it quite in the position the way you want. Actually, I think that's probably good enough right there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take another piece of regular masking tape and just close off that gap here. Okay, then you just press it down really good to make sure you're not going to get any overspray on the outside, and the inside is same thing where you're not going to get any bleed through or anything. Okay. Then next up, what we're going to do is I'm going to take some Tamiya X-19 Smoke, and I am going to mix that 50-50 or 1-to-1 with Mr. Color Leveling Thinner. So you're diluting this 50%. Okay, so I'm using a Mr. Color Leveling Thinner and a clean pipette here. And these are got graduations on them too, and milliliters. So I'm going to put like 2.5 milliliters of Mr. Color, and I've already put 2.5 milliliters of the smoke into my cup here. So basically 50-50 mixture. You can adjust it if you need to. Now there are other methods of smoking. I would think any transparent color would work. I just happen to have this Tamiya Smoke. It goes on sort of like a gray. I'm just going to stir that up really, really well here. Okay, then we're going to go off to the spray booth. Alright, so I am at the booth and I'm using my Galari GA-HD39, which is basically their lowest priced option for an airbrush, but I get excellent results with this. I'm using their 0.35 millimeter needle and tip, and I've got my paint already mixed up there, 50-50. Right before you spray, it's very important because any dust in your glass is going to look terrible. So take a anti-static brush and wipe it really good. Make sure you have no dust in your glass. I'll have a link for this in the description. In fact, the description of my videos, I have a link for everything I use in case you're ever interested, including the spray booth and everything else. Okay, now I don't know if you've ever sprayed candy before, but basically this is like a candy color where you're going to go multiple light coats to build up your tint. 5 coats will get you basically a tint. And if you really want to go dark like limo, you probably have to go 10 or 12 coats. So my first coat is kind of a mist coat. Probably 50% pulled back. Now on this windshield, I'm going to be aiming toward the very top of the windshield and letting the overspray carry to the masking line to try to not have such a crisp tape line there, but to have a little bit more of a fogged appearance. So when I paint, I'm not really aiming at that edge. Okay, coat number 1 on both of these. Okay, now we're going for coat 2. It's going to be a wetter coat. Like a medium wet coat. Coat number 2. As long as I'm not getting too wet, I'll continue on in the same session. I may have to stop for like a minute or so. Right now I'm ready for coat number 3. And just like when I paint my bodies, to make sure I got that wet coat, I'm looking for a glossy reflection in my lights above. If it looks really dry, you're too dry. And obviously if you're too wet, you're going to be running, but you'll recognize that too. Okay, being that I don't have a lot of parts to be painting, like if I had a lot of glass here, I would be going through each and every piece, allowing a little more time, flash time between every piece. But since I've only got these 2 little pieces, I'm going to pause the camera and I'm going to wait for about a minute or 2 for that paint to just kind of flash out a little bit. Coat number 4. And again here, coat number 4, but I'm aiming at the very top of the windshield, which is the bottom in this case, toward the visors, if you will. Even though you're still going to notice there's a harsh tight tape line, but the tint I'm hoping to fade a little bit by aiming at the visors. Going to go into coat number 5. Just spraying some air here. All right, now I'm gonna go in with my 5th coat. Okay, we're gonna pause the camera for about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. A little extra bonus footage for you too is your chrome on your chrome tree. You know, you can strip that and you can re-chrome it with like Revell chrome spray. You can paint it, or you can use it like this and use panel liner to just accent it a little bit. But you can also hit it with this smoke, and it gives it a unique little tint. And the same thing, you would apply it in multiple coats. And because it's such a small area, I'm not soaking it in there. I'm just pulling back probably a third of the way on my gun. All right, we'll let that set up. And again, I'm aiming toward the visors here to fog that paint in a little bit on this windshield. But still a nice medium wet coat. Coat number 2 on the wheels. I haven't decided what set I was going to use, but it doesn't matter anyways. I save all my wheels. So I'll do them both. All right, I'm going to wait another minute or two for things to set up here and flash out a little bit. All right, this is going to be my final coat on the glass, which is, I believe, coat number 7. Nice wet coat. And one more coat on the wheels too. And I'm just looking in the light for reflection to see if I'm wet enough, and I am. Okay, we're going to let that set up for probably about a half hour or so before I pull the tape. So we'll be back. All right, so I've given it about an hour for the paint to set up, so I removed all my masking. I think it came out pretty good. So if you remember that 7 coats on my tint, which gave it a pretty dark tint, but that is what I was shooting for. If you wanted regular tint, I'd say 3 to 5 coats would do it. Now, if you look at the top of the windshield here too, even though you do see a harsh masking line, the smoke is actually faded in because every time I gave that a coat, I was aiming toward the visors and let that overspray just kind of carry on. So that kind of gave it that, how would you call it, a faded in look like they had back in the 60s and 70s. And then also the wheels. Here's a similar wheel that's off a chrome tree that was untreated, and this one here was coated with 3 wet coats of the smoke. Looks pretty good. I think just like tinting, it's to your preference. I probably would have preferred stopping at 2 coats there, but I think it's going to look fine on a model. All right, so next we're going to get that installed in the model, and we'll see just how well it came out. Okay, so I got it installed on my latest model that I'm building, which is the 1970 Buick GSX. I think that tint came out really nice. I wanted it to be darker and contrasting to the yellow. Looks pretty good. And the windshield fade too, I think looks pretty good. Also, here's another look at one of the other wheels that I had sprayed 3 coats of the smoke onto. I like it. It kind of gives it that triple chrome plated look. Just looks a little bit more deeper and richer. And you can still paint and use panel liner and everything else on this too after you tinted it. So, okay, well, I'd call that a success. I think the only thing this model still needs is I probably should have, and it's not too late, is to install some quarter windows in the back and tint them too, which I might still consider. And all you use there is some clear acetate from like a carton. When you buy a product at the store, it has that clear plastic on the front. That's all I've been using. I cut that up and save it. Maybe that's a video for another day. Now, as I said in the video, I was using Tamiya Clear Smoke, but you can really use any translucent clear color that you want to use, like anything in the Tamiya lineup. They're clear red, they're clear orange, clear yellows, whatever you want to use. I would think most candy paints will work too. And, you know, again, I use Tamiya, but there's other brands out there too. It all comes down to how many coats you want to give it to depend on the effect. You know, the darker you want to tint your glass or the more color you want to see, just you got to give it more and more coats. If you like my content, please hit the subscribe, like, and comment below. It's absolutely free, doesn't cost you anything. And I do want to thank everybody. We're approaching 2,500 subscribers in my 5th week of the channel, which is blowing my mind away. I really appreciate everybody's support. I'm glad you're enjoying my videos, and I'm going to keep them coming at you. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.